So I've made it to the gravesite of Al Capone, an organised crime figure and Chicago gangster, sometimes known as Scarface. He controlled part of Chicago until FBI agent Elliot Ness brought him down. So he was born on the 17th of January 1899 in Brooklyn, New York. He was the fourth of 9 children. He quit school in 8th grade and he became involved in small gangs and was later mentored by violent gangster Frank Yale, and quickly realised that violence would help to build his empire. He was brutal. He later started working for Johnny Torrio. He learned his trade by running errands and being a bouncer in a brothel. And he worked his way up the gangster ladder, so to speak. So when Johnny quit the business in 1925, after nearly being killed, he gave the entire empire to Al. Al, now being boss, killed other gang members to build the business even more. His violence peaked with the St. Valentine's Day massacre in 1929. I mean, it was reported that Al was at his Florida home at the time, but ordered the hit where 7 members of the Bugs Moran gang were killed in broad daylight. This, of course, drew the attention of the feds after prominent and influential citizens demanded they do something about it. So warm today, I can't speak. So in 1931, Al was charged with 22 income tax evasion offences. He was convicted of 5 counts. He appealed the conviction but failed. Should have paid your taxes, eh, Al? He was sentenced to 11 years in prison for the tax evasion and served 8 of those years. I read he was released because of his failing health. He left prison in 1939. Apparently he was one of the first American patients to start using penicillin after the mass production was started in the States. It slowed the progression of his disease, but obviously couldn't reverse the brain damage caused by syphilis. Anyway, he died at home in Miami after a cardiac arrest resulting from complications of 3rd stage syphilis. So this apparently is not the original grave of Al Capone. When he died in 1947, he was buried at Mount Olivet Cemetery, or Olivet Cemetery, with his father and brother Frank. Unfortunately, it became a bit of a tourist attraction and a magnet for vandals. So when Al's mother died in 1952, his body was moved to her plot at Mount Carmel Cemetery. This cemetery. As I say, these are all the Capone family. You know, it's really strange being here. I've read so much about this guy. You know, you watch films growing up, movies growing up, don't you? And you hear about the mafia and the mob and the gangsters. And at my age now, I'm finally at his gravesite. Wow. So yeah, it's just plain on the back. But yeah, the Capone family of Al Capone. Just where I showed you was right there. I've said it before, say it again. It's always a bit sobering to find a grave with your own name on it. Well, last name anyway. Eek. So this is Mount Carmel Cemetery in Chicago, Hillside. Pretty cool. Yeah, you should never be forgotten. So this is the grave of Vito Capitelli. At 28 years old, Vito was shot and killed by Niccolo Trappini, and it happened at the Washington and Union Streets at the southeast corner, described as a public place alley. The shooter was sentenced to 14 years in prison on July 12, 1911. Vito. Wow. I can't find any more information about the shooting, what it was all about, how it all transpired. Literally, that's all I've seen is an old police report. Rest in peace, Vito. He's at Mount Carmel Cemetery. Really, really beautiful cemetery. Isn't that beautiful? The Bishop's Chapel. So in this just like family plot here is Suzanne Farris. Suzanne was born 10th of September 1944 and she passed away the 14th of July 1966, and Suzanne was murdered by Richard Speck. On that night, being the 14th of July 1966, 8 young women were killed. The suspect was an ex-convict from Texas. He stabbed or strangled female nursing students. After the murders, he ran away, of course, and whilst in hiding, he tried to kill himself by cutting his wrists. Unfortunately, he didn't do a good enough job, but he was later captured and put in prison. But those poor ladies went through hell that night, and Suzanne is just one of those. There were nine nursing students staying at the location, and one of them hid so well he didn't even know that she was there. She survived. She was the sole survivor. So whilst I was in Chicago and coming to Mount Carmel, it would be remiss for me not to come and pay my respects to Suzanne. Rest in peace, Suzanne. I'm sure you are, but I'm sorry what you had to go through. There's quite a few famous people here, or notorious people, well-known people, however you'd like to, or whatever you'd like to call them. Gangsters, mobsters, Chicago mafia members. It's just a beautiful cemetery, in all honesty. I keep saying that, but it actually is. Some of the headstones are just outstanding. And loved ones have done the occupants of those graves proud, I think. But you can just see the array of different types. So lovely, so peaceful. All I've heard is some groundsmen, crew just cutting the lawns. I've seen a couple of cars, and that's it really. It's just me and all of these guys, of course. I mean, look at that. Some of them are like small houses, really. Well, they are houses, aren't they? Just that we don't call them houses, but perhaps we should. It's amazing. All different sizes as well. That's lovely. I just spotted another Hogan grave. Yeah. These tiny ones here. I mean, there's room for three coffins in there. Oh wow. You can see that. It's got the American flag. It must have been forces or something. I'll have to have a look. Rest in peace, all of you. And also as well, you'll see a lot of the, oops, you fell over, stained glass at the back, which is absolutely stunning. All different types, depending which crypt you look at, really. It's kind of awesome. That's lovely. They're just amazing, some of these monuments, they really are. So lovely. That's my words of the day, I think, is so lovely. But they are. They all are. We are looking at Giulia Bacola Petta. Now Giulia passed away in childbirth, and her son was unfortunately stillborn. She was only 29 years old. She was buried in her wedding dress with her baby. Now after Giulia passed away, her mother, Filomena, kept having nightmares, and the nightmares are that Giulia had been buried alive. So she kept having these nightmares, and after around 6 years after Giulia died, Filomena asked for Giulia's body to be exhumed. Permission was given for this to happen, and it did. On opening the coffin, they found that Giulia's body had very little deterioration. Now this is quite some years after she had died. A 6-year post-mortem photo was taken of Giulia in her coffin, and the memorial statue that we're looking at was created. And as I said, the nightmare that the mother had was that Giulia had been buried alive. No idea how Filomena obtained permission for the exhumation, but she did. And here she is. And there are a couple of pictures on there. One is, just as a warning, one is a post-mortem photo. The other is of Giulia in her wedding dress. That's beautiful. Look at that awesome statue. And this is the one that was taken during the exhumation, and you can see Giulia just looks almost perfect there, doesn't she? The arm that was holding the baby unfortunately showed some deterioration, and the baby was long gone, but the rest of Giulia looked kind of perfect. That's really nuts, isn't it? Absolutely nuts. But there's Giulia there in her wedding dress. Mum is also buried nearby, but she has an unmarked grave, so Mum died obviously some years later and her grave isn't marked. But a very interesting story about Giulia. It's called The Italian Bride. There she is. I mean, I'm sure there's some scientific reasons why the body was hadn't shown much deterioration after 6 years. And if you know why, you can tell me in the comments. But it's kind of strange, isn't it, that Giulia's body was near perfect, but the baby had gone, and the arm that was holding the baby, because as I said, she was buried with her baby, the arm that was holding the baby had deteriorated somewhat. But as you saw in the picture, the rest of her was virtually intact. That's unbelievable. But that is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful memorial for Giulia. Canadian geese get everywhere, don't they? Being chased off that one. I've been to the cemetery several times now. And I always walk around quite amazed at some of these stones. De Salvo. This is beautiful. Not sure if this is the one that actually turns. May not be that one. I'm not going to push on it, but it's so lovely. look at that one too. Mount Carmel. So yeah, so this one, you're meant to be able to turn this top part, it's meant to turn round, but it's difficult to do. There are videos online if you want to see it in action on YouTube. There's some YouTubers I think have managed to turn it, but that top part spins, turns round. I'm not going to be able to do that by myself. I'm not even going to try, to be fair, but in any case, what a beautiful grave marker, monument, whatever you'd like to call it. It's for the De Salvo family, Angelo and Rosa. Stunning. I mean, look at this detail. That's awesome. I love this cemetery. It's so awesome. If you're ever out at Chicago way and you haven't been here, come out here, have a wander around and just look at some of these grave markers. They're kind of awesome, really are. You've got new ones, you've got older ones. Just stunning. Beautiful pictures. So lovely. I kind of like to come back and just spend a day wandering around this cemetery, because I could quite easily do that. Beautiful. You get the idea. I like this cemetery. Building. Yeah, it's really good shape. Wow. You wonder how some of this Reverend Edward P. O'Connor. This is quite nice. I do love this cemetery. I know I've said it a few times on this video. This is my fourth visit here now. So the videos you're seeing are all taken over different times, different days, different months. But that's lovely. Wow. McCoy, 1846 to 1914 and 1928. Wow. This one is really beautiful. I don't know if it's going to come out on the video. You can see the effect of that. Orlandi. You can see a few names. This is the back of it. It's got beautiful glass there. Let's see if we can see that through the door. The glass in the door, I should say. Kind of, there's a bus there. There we go. Can't get it very clear because it's through the glass in the doorway, but oops. There we go. That's nice. That's lovely. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Frank Salerno. Lovely. Oh, see, that one's hidden. Two there hidden. So nice. Wow. That's the grave that goes with the bench. Some pictures on the front of the father and somebody else that's somewhat difficult to read. How cool. Wow. At 1910 I can read that date. Maybe 1924 is written there. Can't read it too well. So nice. And it is quiet, this one. I mean, if you go back down the road is sort of, there's one road down there. If you go back down there, then it gets a little bit noisy from the traffic, but generally where I am currently it's very quiet. I don't know if you can see that very well. I can't because the sun's shining, but well, rest in peace everybody. I mean, I say rest in peace to everybody, but they're probably thinking, well, we were until you came and bothered us. Go away. So lush. All the leaves are starting to come down. It's that time of year, isn't it? It's October, I don't know, 27th, something like that. So I saw the flag, I thought I'd come and have a look. Carmen, Sylvia, oh, it's my mother's name, Sylvia. I don't know who the flag is for though, I have to look that one up. So I was heading for that one because that's like a soldier. Let's see what that's all about. Look at that. How awesome is that? It's pretty lush. I love these type of monuments, memorials, whatever you call them. So to the memory of Lieutenant Michael O'Hara, Company A Lieutenant. He died in South Africa while serving in the Irish Brigade of the Boer Army, 1900. That's written on there, but I saw some soldiers' graves here. Yeah. Sergeant James Jarrity, Charles O'Donnell, Edward Cullinal or something, Philip Duffy, Duffy, John Brewery, Captain Patrick O'Connor, Sergeant Dennis Griffin, Dennis Dennehy, James Delaney, was the sergeant. I'm guessing they were all soldiers really, right next to that. Rest in peace, soldiers, thank you for your service. Beautiful. Wow. Look at that one. Tito family. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Everyone died in, that's like 1910. Peter Sisko family, 1950. Go up the sun a little bit. This is just so lovely. Wow. You kind of got the really big ones, as you can see there, and then you've got these tiny little ones, equally as lovely. Mother Mary, Father Michael. You can see. Go a bit closer. There. You could walk around this cemetery for days. It's just all so beautiful. Absolutely awesome. Look at that little one there. 1916. Wow. Stops. Beautiful. spot the flow. There she is, right there. It's quite interesting. Oh, okay. So Mother Victoria Saltarelli, missionary sister of the Sacred Heart. So they are all, by the looks of it, Sacred Heart. Wow. Kind of looks like little people, doesn't it? Wow. Is that well again? So I'm wondering if I just walk past a memorial. I don't think so though. So yeah, all these guys and all these girls are all from the missionary sister of the Sacred Heart. Wow. Rest in peace. There's some more similar grave markers here. Yeah, all from the Sacred Heart. Oh, look at that one. Oh, that's a shame. All of them. So these are the earlier ones than them ones. So these are like the 20s. Wow. So, 1912, that one. Missionary sister of the Sacred Heart. That looks like Mother written on there. Oh dear, I can't read your name. Martinelli. Oh crikey. July, she died July 1912. She was 19 years. Oh, bless your heart. Rest in peace. Wow. This one. That one's shut up tight. State. 1922 written above the door. Look at that. Wow. So Roger C. Sullivan. Look at that. My word. And the name on there is Corby. So Terence Corby, Julia Corby, Jean Corby, Francis Corby. Wow. Okay, so I've looked up the finder grave for Roger C. Sullivan, and he was a politician, financier. He died from died of a sudden sudden attack of heart failure, superinduced by bronchial pneumonia. See, I'm looking on the finder grave as I'm pointing this. So Roger Charles Sullivan was born 3rd of February 1861, died 14th of April 1920. He was only 59. Crikey. So he was a Democrat, delegate to Democratic National Convention from Illinois, 1904, 1912, 1916. He was a candidate for US Senator from Illinois in 1914. Yeah, as I said, he died April 14th, 1920. He must have been either very prominent or very well thought of to have a monument that size. Rest in peace, Mr. Sullivan. Yeah, this is another one that looks quite interesting. Trombator, family trombotor by the looks of it. With the little thing up top. See if I can get closer. There we go. The sun's in a really weird angle, so I can't actually focus. I don't know, it's not too bad, is it? See if I can see any dates. Look inside. It's kind of old, isn't it? Well, it's not that old, you know. There's 1947, 1944, and there's a 1928 down below. There's a picture there. Wow. Josephine. Luciano at the top there. Oops, you can't see that, can you? Sorry. Let's go back out. I'm trying to get you a view of this, guys. Bear with me. He doesn't want to be seen, but 1947, as I said. I can barely see it, because all I can see is trees. There we go, finally. Well, rest in peace, guys, rest in peace. Onofrio Taglia, Camp Logan, Texas. Born October 28th, 1890. He died 1919. Wow. There's two pictures. Well, let's see what we can see. Nothing there. So he's there. But there is somebody across the other side. Where did I see that? Maybe down. Maybe there. Difficulty focusing in on through the glass on that one, but the chap that's mentioned up here is, there's 1, 2, 3 either side, and he is the second one up there, and there's another one at the bottom. I can't read the name, and then there's another one at the bottom. So to me, it looks like 3 people in there. But that's pretty awesome, isn't it? And kind of that one there is all boarded up, but that's really beautiful. See that there? Wow, look at this one. Look at that. Oh. 26th of December 1911. Wow. So young. Looks so young.
Yeah, I can't figure out how old they were.
No. That's beautiful, isn't it? That's leaning slightly though. Bertini, 1927, Alfredo, 1914, and Carlo, 1911. There would have been pictures there, but they're all gone. She's lovely. I don't know if you can see the. There we go. Sweet. Francis and Agatha, 1988 to 19. No, can't read it. Lavoretta. Look at that. It's another little tiny. I'd call these mausoleums, to be fair. I don't know what you'd call them. 1945 and 44. Oh guys, I think I've shown you quite a bit now of Mount Carmel. If you get a chance to come out and visit, then do so, because it is it's a beautiful, interesting cemetery. Some interesting characters buried here. Obviously Capone and all the other gangsters. I've told a few stories, but as I always say, you come out and see it yourself. It's absolutely lush. There we go. Oh well. Alfredo was only 10 years old. Sad.